This is the 2024 Acura ZDX. Now, I know you're thinking, wait a second, I've heard that name before. And yeah, Acura did make a ZDX, but only from 2010 to 2013, and never really quite got off the ground. It wasn't super popular. Well, now this ZDX, this is a much bigger deal for Acura because this is the brand's first battery electric vehicle. And that means that, well, as we put more and more eggs in that EV basket, it means this needs to be a hit. So let's start off with how it looks. The old ZDX, I would say, was maybe a bit ahead of its time. It had that high ride height, but it also had the fastback design, almost like a precursor to those crossover coupes that are frankly getting more and more popular. Back in 2010 though, it didn't quite work. And so now when we have the reincarnation of the ZDX, we shouldn't be surprised to see it has a much more conventional crossover design. Now, this is about the length of an Acura MDX, but it only has 2 rows of seats and it has a much longer wheelbase. I mean, look at how long this thing is. That means that we're probably gonna have really great rear seat legroom, and in fact, yeah, looking back here, there is tons of legroom, and there's gonna be a lot of cargo space as well. Now, a few of the exterior design features that I really like, first off, there are the headlights. So these jewel eye LED headlight designs that look outstanding. Then we also have this relatively high belt line. That really helps to add to some of the drama, the visual drama of the vehicle, which of course is also aided by these massive tires. I also like how at the front, the grille, or sort of lack thereof, because it's an EV, it has that forward rake, which gives it a little more aggressive stance. But we probably want to know what makes it go. And so powertrain-wise, we have a few options. There is the ZDX A-Spec, which is going to be available in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And then we have this one here. This is the ZDX Type S. This is kind of the performance one. So this has 500 horsepower thanks to a dual motor all-wheel drive setup. It should get us about 288 miles of range. If you're willing to give up some of the power and get a little more range, well, you can go with an A-Spec trim. The rear-wheel drive A-Spec has a 340 horsepower single motor setup, and that gets 325 miles. Now, they haven't announced horsepower figures yet for the dual motor A-Spec, but we do know that that should get about 315 miles of all-electric driving range. Beyond just power output, though, there are some differences between the Type S and the A-Specs in terms of performance. First off, the Type S has these great yellow Brembo brakes. It also has an air suspension, multi-link air suspension with performance dampers, while the A-Specs have a multi-link fixed coil suspension. Now, I think it's about time that I walk around the car, hop in the driver's seat, and we take a look at the interior. Inside, the Acura ZDX actually feels pretty traditional, almost conservative compared to some of the wilder options in the EV space. Now, this touchscreen display here, it's plenty big at 11.3 inches, but it doesn't dominate the interior like some EV touchscreens do. And critically, you don't have to rely on this for all the controls in the car. For instance, we have rotary knobs for our HVAC climate control here. We've got a rotary knob for power and volume. We've got plenty of physical buttons. The steering wheel, although it's a little big for my taste, is a genuine wheel. It's not a silly yoke. And otherwise, the interior is comfortable. It doesn't really blow you away with flash and gimmicks. It feels a little more traditional car SUV-like. I really like the black and white interior that we have here. That two-tone look looks really sharp, and there's a lot of good usable space. So there's a big tray up here with this kind of rubberized mat that'll keep your phone seated nicely. We've got 2 USB-C ports. Cup holders are a good size. They're well positioned. This center bin is got plenty of space in it. And now, what I didn't mention outside, and I probably should have, is that the ZDX actually shares a lot of parts with GM's Cadillac Lyriq. So that's General Motors' luxury EV SUV. And so we will see some similar parts. For instance, they have the same 102 kilowatt hour battery pack, but then there's little things. So like this wireless phone charger slot, that's straight out of General Motors. Another detail that's going to be familiar to some GM customers is this shiny little band on the top of the steering wheel. Now this indicates that this car has AcuraWatch 360 Plus. What is AcuraWatch 360 Plus? Well, regular AcuraWatch is the standard suite of advanced driver assistance systems that we've come to expect in most higher end cars. 360 Plus, that's actually Acura's rebrand of GM's SuperCruise technology. So it's not a self-driving, it's a hands-free driving software technology package that's mapped to work on 400,000 miles of US roads. And we've tested it in the Escalade, in the Bolt EUV, some other GM cars, and it's really impressive. So to see AcuraWatch 360 Plus in the ZDX, well, that's a huge win for Acura. In terms of other tech, I did say that the 11.3-inch touchscreen doesn't dominate the space, but it still has some pretty handy party tricks going for it. So for one, it has Google built in. That means you've got Google Maps, the Play Store, Google Assistant, all of that is natively integrated into the software. You can attach Android Auto or wireless Apple CarPlay, but you don't need Android Auto to use those Google services. So that's pretty nice to have. We also have an Acura specific charging app. So essentially what this does is it takes all of those charging apps for like EVgo and Electrify America and ChargePoint, it puts them into one space. So it can find 90% of the DC fast chargers across the country, and all of the payment is sorted out in that Acura app. So you don't have to have 14 different apps for 14 different charge networks. You just need to run it through the Acura app. Other stuff that's pretty fun here, I mean, I think touchscreen wise, it's kind of has that black and white vibe that we get in Acuras these days, although the Google icons still have all of Google's colors in there. And overall, it just looks pretty easy to use, pretty self-explanatory, and while it doesn't have the flash that some of the ZDX's competitors certainly have, I think for a lot of shoppers, simplicity, clarity, cleanliness, that's going to matter a whole lot more. The final thing I'd like to point out is that while Acura has used ELS for its premium audio for pretty much all of its models, I think, and for many, many years now, the ZDX is going to use a Bang & Olufsen audio system. So that might be due to their partnership with GM. I'm not actually certain, but it is pretty exciting to see Bang & Olufsen in the ZDX. Acura plans to put the ZDX on sale in early 2024, and while pricing isn't official yet, we've been told to expect the A-Spec in the $60,000 range and the Type S in the $70,000 range. Now, I really want to hear from you. Has Acura hit a home run? Is this a true, genuine winner? Or is it maybe a little too conservative? Did Acura play it a little too safe? Certainly in Type S and on the exterior, this is a dramatic, impressive looking car. I mean, we didn't even really talk about the rear end, but I love these louvers down here. I love the tail lights. And of course, on this one, we have a three-tone paint job. There's nothing safe about that. On the inside, however, it is a little more conventional than we're seeing from some of the ZDX's competitors. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.